I'm Gunhild Hoogensen Gjørv, and I'm one of the lead authors for the security chapter for the Gender Equality in the Arctic Report 3. And I'm very happy that I have been co-lead author with Seabrook, Kendall, as well as many other excellent experts who have contributed to this particular chapter. So what do we mean by security, and particularly security in the Arctic? A lot of people sort of automatically think about, the military, and yeah, okay, they have something to do with it, but they're actually not the definition of security. Security is not about militarizing a space or using weapons to ensure that something mystical called security will exist. Security is actually a very human concept, and it's about us, and it's rooted in us as people. It has to do with our sense of well-being, essentially. In this chapter, when we talk about security, we don't talk about just a narrow militarized concept of security that surrounds a state, but we talk about what we call a comprehensive approach to security. And what this means is that we take a look at security from the state level, the society level, as well as human security. It's important to keep in mind, not all of these levels of security necessarily fit so well together. Sometimes they can be complementary in that both human, societal, and state security all hang together and support each other, but sometimes they can come in conflict. In other words, not all security perspectives are the same. In our chapter, we focus very much on the community level, on the local level, and that is why we take a look at who we are. And that has to do with gender, class, sexual orientation, ethnicity, race, nationality. We look at all of these sort of identity markers, not necessarily to pit them against one another, but to take a look at the way in which identity has in fact been institutionalized through governance and the law to treat us differently. We need to understand that, to understand better how our security perspectives come to develop. Security, in fact, is a very human concept, and we have to think about it in terms of not just the state, but there are multiple actors that include us as individuals. It includes multiple types of values, different types of practices, the way in which we support security. It is about our survival, though, that which we prioritize, that is most important for our lives to continue on. And that makes time very important here. It's the future that counts. What our chapter shows is that based on various identity markers, you can say, on gender, on being a man, a woman, of a different sexual orientation, and so forth, has actually made a difference in the ways that we have either felt secure or felt insecure. These feelings of security are further complicated by whether a person is of Indigenous background, non-Indigenous background, perhaps of another ethnic minority background, could be a migrant to a place, so as part of a non-dominant ethnic community. So all of these things actually make a difference to the ways in which we understand and feel our security, because that's actually what security is all about. It's whether or not we feel a sense of well-being, we feel safe and protected, and we know we have a future ahead. And in fact, in today's geopolitical world, what we think and having our voices heard is more important than ever. In today's Arctic, we hear a lot about the remilitarization of the Arctic and all of these big powers coming into play. That doesn't make communities less significant in these sorts of conversations. So the point of the gender chapter is to try to highlight, the gender and security chapter is to try to highlight just that our security perceptions count.
Hi, I'm Sarah Seabrook Kendall, Gunhild's co-lead for the security chapter. And to start from where Gunhild left off, these individual security perceptions and intersectional insecurities shape how we experience the biggest security threat the Arctic is facing today: climate change. Climate change is addressed in different contexts throughout the report, and in this chapter, it is framed as a security issue resulting from the wide array of impacts it will bring to societies and environments throughout the Arctic. These impacts will be locally varied, and the insecurities that result from them are mediated by existing structural inequalities. This is why understanding who we are is a key part of security analysis, and case studies discussed throughout this chapter provide an example of the type of information which is useful for climate policymakers. This is why the chapter also discusses climate disinformation. Climate disinformation makes these efforts increasingly difficult, and the chapter addresses how and why people's acceptance of climate change varies. Understanding this type of information is an important part of combating disinformation and giving policymakers the necessary tools to understand why people think the way that they do. Disinformation is an impediment to the quick action needed to address global climate change, and information about the specific factors contributing to people's perceptions of it is therefore important from a security perspective. Taken together, this example shows the importance of understanding what Gunhild was talking about and why, at its core, security is a thoroughly individual issue